dominant in shaping the GOP, now appears to be increasingly at war with itself as it faces internal conflict over who should and shouldn't be accepted under its tent. New analysis from Axios says the movement remains pro-Trump, but it's less influential in driving the president's actual agenda as rifts unfold over what it means to be truly America first when Trump focuses attention on Israel or Venezuela while working-class voters are hurting in America. Feuds include that of Tucker Carlson versus Ben Shapiro over Israel, as well as the rising influence of Nick Fuentes and young white nationalists using racist rhetoric. Meanwhile, a fight over the release of the Epstein files has erupted into a very public split between President Trump and Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia. Greene told CNN she still supports Trump, saying her push for accountability on the Epstein documents was about transparency, not disloyalty, adding she hopes the president will deliver for the country.
I think that the American people deserve to be put first. That's what Make America Great Again meant to me. And I think that President Trump can do that if he refocuses his effort. And I think that's what I want to see. I think that's what the country wants to see. Even if he's attacking me, I do want him to be successful for the American people.
Now, Greene says she'd be open to reconciling with the president, but she also accused Trump of fueling dangerous rhetoric that's putting her life now at risk, reporting receiving hoax pizza deliveries and a pipe bomb threat at her business. She also acknowledged that when others were at the center of that kind of ire, she didn't push back, and she apologized for that. In a post on social media, she wrote, "Aggressive rhetoric attacking me has historically led to death threats and multiple convictions of men who were radicalized by the same type of rhetoric being directed at me now, this time by the president of the United States." Still, last night, Trump dismissed those concerns.
We'll see what happens.
Green said her life could be at danger because of the rhetoric.
Her life is in danger? Who's that?
Marjorie Taylor Greene, she says.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't think her life is in danger. Frankly, I don't think anybody cares about her.
I want to bring in now author, columnist, and conservative writer Matt Lewis. Matt, my, how things change and how quickly they do. I mean, this is not the kind of rhetoric that any public official or anyone should be subjected to. And yet you see now Marjorie Taylor Greene seemingly aware of the fact that, yeah, it's her at the center of it right now, but dozens of other politicians and public figures have been at the center of Trump's ire and received exactly this kind of treatment, from Nikki Haley to tons and tons of other Democrats. So her reaction, I mean, what do you make of the fact that this is going on, that she's acknowledging that she's only just realizing the power of the president's words now? I mean, talk about what you see happening here.
I think there's a real eye-opening moment right now. You have someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who I think for the first time maybe, and I think she's actually in many ways a true believer. I think she drank the Kool-Aid sincerely. She believes in MAGA more than Donald Trump believes in MAGA as an ideology. And I think her eyes have, to a certain degree, been opened to. If you listen to her talk, she actually is talking about the power of words to possibly be dangerous and inspire violence. And she says that this is maybe an epiphany after Charlie Kirk. But this reminds me of something else that's happening right now, which are conservative movement leaders and conservative opinion leaders who have suddenly discovered that, oh my gosh, anti-Semitism is a problem out there, that we've built this monster over the last decade. And now, so on multiple fronts, I think you have people on the right who are now coming to realize, some of them, that they have helped build this monster, and now they have to find a way to restrain it, or it will come to get them, as monsters usually do.
Yeah, as they always do. I mean, look, the fact that she's realizing the impact of words on the horrifying landscape of political violence that we're seeing, good. Everyone within politics right now should take a look at this landscape and do what they can to try to cool things off, bring passion to debates, but then also not make it.
When you've got a classic ride, you need tools you trust. Whether you drive it every day or only take it out on the biggest night of the year, count on Harbor Freight. Early Black Friday is here.
It looks like an ordinary staircase, but as you age with occasional nerve discomfort that can feel like stabbing or pins and needles in your hands and feet, sometimes stairs can bring worry. As a retired physician, I've seen it in my patients, but I didn't truly understand it until I got older myself. So
it's usually whichever party or side is the most unified wins. And up until recently, clearly, I think Democrats have been having this identity crisis. What do they stand for? But right now, we have seen, and certainly after the 2025 elections in New Jersey, Virginia, New York City, Republicans are having these internal battles, trying to figure out who's in charge. I also think a lot of this jockeying, frankly, though, isn't about 2026. It's really about 2028. Yes. Some of it also is just the product of Donald Trump now being perceived as a lame duck, I think rightly so. I think he always crafted this really unwieldy coalition for 2024 that was probably unsustainable. I think physically, he's just not up to it anymore to the degree that he was able to kind of impose his will on people. He doesn't have the energy, maybe physically. But I also think there's something else here. You know, Donald Trump used to go around the country doing these rallies all the time, and it was sort of a focus group. He would say something crazy. The audience would either respond positively or negatively, and it helped him craft his message to appeal to kind of a populist constituency. I don't think he has that now. He's hearing from ideologues like Stephen Miller, or he's hearing from billionaires, you know, in his cabinet, or donors. And so Donald Trump, I think, is increasingly isolated and out of touch with his own populist movement.
As someone who went to, I think, more than 200, 250 of those rallies, it was always a way for him to litmus test, and he would actively poll the crowd. Do you think I should do this? Do you think I should do this? On everything from his VP choice to policy decisions. I think you're right about that. But then I also look at the way that you frame it as the ideologues and the billionaires, and those are actually two different places of policy nexuses, right? And what I see happening here is that Trump is, you're right, the head of a coalition that was never going to sustain beyond him, but it's going to be a problem for whoever comes next. J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, even in those two names, they're going to have different prescriptions on what the party should stand for. So ultimately, where do you think that this goes next, as the party is actively grappling with being post-Trump, even as it is very much amid the Trump era?
This is going to be a complete mess, right? Because you've got a few dynamics happening. First, people are running for 2028, whether they admit to it or not. I mean, they're going to start jockeying for position. And the way you jockey for position is not to be the same, because if everyone is identical, then J.D. Vance is the obvious heir apparent. So it's to try to separate yourself. If you're Ted Cruz, how do you make an argument? If you're Marco Rubio, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene possibly is now running for president. So the fact that there is now a shadow 2028 campaign, I think, inevitably leads to conflict. Republicans are not afraid of Donald Trump anymore. We're seeing this with Marjorie Taylor Greene. We're seeing this with Thomas Massie. We're seeing this in Indiana, where local Republicans are defying Donald Trump. And so I think the spell is starting to break. And the question, though, for Republicans is, after we get through all this turmoil and fighting, can anybody have the charisma of Donald Trump, right? Because one thing we've seen in the last decade is when Trump is on the ballot, they have a good chance of winning. Yes. When Donald Trump's not on the ballot, not so much. And so all this fighting, and then you get to someone who maybe just doesn't have it.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, you say it's going to be a complete mess. I think that's kind phrasing to do it. Matt Lewis, we will leave it there. Thank you, as always, for coming on.
Thank you.
And earlier in the show, we asked you, the viewers, why are you awake? The first why awakes of the MS Now era. Marjorie sends along this photo and writes, I was dreaming away and then felt someone staring at me. Must be time for someone's breakfast. Yeah, those are demanding eyes. Feed on demand. Sarah shares this photo and says, this is Griffin, and he loves a 5 a.m. wake-up call to walk before the sun comes up here in Wilmington, North Carolina. Have a great walk and a great day. And Neil writes,